Myself Padmaja, Associate Professor, Department of CSE, Institute of Aeronautical Engineering, Hyderabad. Now, let us discuss today a number of programs related to command line argument. How to pass command line argument and how to write a program using command line arguments we will see today. So, let us start with what do you mean by command line argument. Now, to any function, we can pass a number of arguments, and if you pass any arguments at the command line and you are invoking those arguments and doing some operations on those arguments, then those programs are known as command line argument programs. Now, to pass command line arguments, typically to the main function, we use two arguments. The first argument is nothing but the number of arguments you have passed. It is the count of the number of command line arguments. And the second one is the list of command line arguments, which is stored in a vector. So, the general syntax is your main, to the main function, we are passing int rc and character star rb. So, rb is a vector. A pointer to the argument vector contains a list of arguments which contains the address of the list of arguments stored in that array. Now, rc contains how many arguments you have passed. It is just a count, integer counter. Okay. So, you can either write int rc character star rb vector. Otherwise, you can also write using double pointer int rc character double star rb. Okay. Now, let us see what do you mean by rc and what is rb. Now, rc means simply an argument count, and it is an integer, and it stores the number of command line arguments you have passed. It is an integer value. Whether you pass 2 arguments, 3 arguments, or any n number of arguments, how many arguments you have passed, it stores its count only. And the first argument is always the name of the program to which you are passing these arguments. So, if you pass any arguments to a program, then the value of rc will be minimum 2. So, if you are passing one command line argument also, the number of the count value will be minimum 2, because the first argument is always the program name and the second one will be the actual argument which you have passed. Now, the value of rc will be always non-negative. So, if you are not passing anything, rc value will be 0. So, rc value of 0 is nothing but the name of the program itself. That itself is treated as an argument. Now, if the rc value is your more than 1, that means you have passed any argument. Now, when the rb is a vector, rb is a argument vector, which is an array of character pointers listing all the arguments. So, when your rc value is greater than 0, then the array elements are stored from rb of 0 to rc minus 1. So, the argument vector, in the argument vector, the 0th argument, see, rb of 0 contains the name of the file, rb of 1 contains the first argument that you have passed, rb of 2 contains the second argument, and so on. So, if you have passed n number of arguments, then it starts from rb of 0 to rb of rc minus 1. So, the remaining, the argument vector contains a pointer to those argument strings. Now, rb of 0 is always the name of the program, and after that, remaining every element is nothing but the actual argument which you have passed. Now, after understanding what is rc and what is rb and how to pass arguments, now let us switch over to our Dev C++ compiler and start writing some command line argument programs. Now, the first program that we are going to write is to read a list of arguments and display it. So, how to read a list of arguments at the command line? Let us see first. So, the program name is read a list of arguments and display it. Now, how to start writing the program? Let us start with the header file #include stdio.h. Now, we will pass these arguments to our main function. So, int main. First argument is the argument count, so rc. Then character star RV is a vector. Now, there is another argument which you can pass, which is nothing but the environmental settings or an environmental pointer also. But we will today not discuss about the ENVP argument. We will discuss only with RC and RV. So, first of all, what you have to do? So, the purpose of our program is to pass a set of arguments. So, how to display those arguments? So, for that, I am taking one looping variable int I, and let me check the number of arguments. If it is less than 2, that means you didn't pass any argument. If it is less than 2, then I'll write down printf your need to pass arguments. So this is general message I have written. If it is the argument count is less than 2, means you have to pass some arguments, and if you have not passed any arguments, then I'm going to simply return from here. Now, if you have passed some arguments, then I'm going to print those arguments first, the count of those arguments. So let us write total number of arguments passed. Total number of arguments passed is nothing but percentile D, comma, RC value. RC value will give you the total number of arguments which you have passed. Now, if you want to see those arguments, what are the arguments you have, then you can write down a simple printf message that the arguments are. What are the arguments you have passed? Let us see. For seeing the arguments, write down a for. So, for I is equal to 0 till I less than the RC value I plus plus. So, if you want, you can write down your RC value starts from 1. So, you can take I is equal to 1. Okay. Argument count is non-negative. So, you have started from. So, till you reach to the RC value. So, I is equal to 1 and I less than RC value. Either you can write like this, or you can write I is equal to 0, I less than RC. Or you can write from I is equal to 1 and I less than equal to RC. Okay, let us see first with I is equal to 0, I less than RC value. Okay, so how to print? So write down printf. The arguments what you are passing are strings always. So write down your percentile S. Or you can write down the RV of percentile D is percentile S. Okay, so what is the value for percentile D? It is nothing but the I value and your RV of I. So this for loop is going to print the total number of arguments what you have passed. Now we have completed writing the simple program, how to read a list of argument and display it. Let us first save the program and then run it. So I am choosing as C source file. Now let us compile and run. Now when you have run the program, what message you have got as output? You got the message as need to pass arguments. Why you got? Because we didn't pass any argument so far. So what you need to do whenever you do command line argument program, simply compile it, then pass some argument, then run it. Okay. So as I have compiled and run the program, I got the message that need to pass argument because the number of arguments is less than 2. I didn't pass any arguments. So in Dev C++ compiler, you have a facility for passing the parameters. So click on the execute menu. In that, you have an option called parameters. Click on the execute menu. In that, select parameters. So you will get a small parameters window where you can pass some parameters here. So suppose I am passing the parameters as 10, 20, 30, Rama, Geeta. Some parameters I have passed 100. I have passed some parameters. I have passed 6 parameters over here and then make it okay. Now I have passed some parameters and now I will run my program. So when I am running my program, you can see that total number of arguments passed is 7. Then What are the arguments? The arguments are at RB of 0, the file name itself is always RB of 0, because to this file only you are passing the arguments. So the file name itself is stored in the argument vector at the 0th position. Then RB of 1 to RB of 6 is nothing but the arguments which you have passed. So through this program, you have learned how to pass the arguments and how to display it. So this is the first program regarding command line arguments. If you do not want to pass in this manner, you can go to your CMD window and pass the arguments. There also you can execute your program. So I am just pasting the output over here, what arguments I have passed over here. Now let us discuss about another program where at the command line I am passing some arguments. Suppose two arguments I am passing as 10 and 20 and I want to find out the addition of those two numbers. So pass two numbers at the command line argument and find its sum. So let us start doing. So first read two arguments 10 and 20 at command line and find its sum. Hash include stdio.h. Now we are passing the arguments to the main function. So write int main. What are the arguments we are passing? Int argc and character star rb of rbj vector. So you have written the structure of the program. Now, how many arguments you are passing? You are passing two arguments. And what you need to pass? You need to pass the sum. So, let us take a looping variable and initially sum is equal to 0. Now, as usual, check the same condition. If the number of arguments is less than 2, that means you didn't pass any arguments. So, write down a meaningful message over here that need to pass arguments, or write down the message need to pass arguments. So if you didn't pass any arguments, the control should simply return from here. Now if you have passed some arguments, how many arguments you have passed? So for that you have to find out the sum. So RB of 0 and RB of 1 are the two arguments. RB of 0 always contain the file name. RB of 1 and RB of 2 are the two arguments which you will pass as 10 and 20. So how to find out the sum? So you can simply write sum is equal to RB of your 1 plus RB of 2. If you will simply write, then what will happen? So here I didn't need the variable I, so I am removing from here. So I am computing the sum as RB of 1 plus RB of 2 and then I am printing the sum. So sum of two arguments is percentile d, comma, the variable sum. Now the question here is, whenever you pass any arguments, those arguments are treated to be strings. So two strings we cannot join like this. So 10 plus 20, 10 is a string, 20 is treated to be another string. So let us first, before converting into integer values, first see what will be the output and then accordingly we will modify the program. Now first of all, I have to compile the program. So write down the program name, save the program as a C source file. Then can you see over here, you are getting invalid operands to binary plus. That means two strings I cannot add like this. So that's why I am getting error over here. So that is the reason you need to convert the arguments from string to integer over here. So to convert the strings to integer, we will use a function called a to I, ATOI. So a to I, this function, ASCII to integer, it will convert for the first argument. Similarly, for the second argument, a to I, again you write and convert the second string into integer. So Auto is a very useful function. A to I and I to A. These are the two important functions which will convert from ASCII to integer or integer to ASCII. So here we are going to use A to I function. Now RP of 1 and 2 are the two strings now that will be converted into integer, and then we'll find the sum of those integers. Now compile and run the program. Now the sum of the two arguments is 30. How you got 30? Because earlier in the previous program you have passed some arguments, and the first and second arguments it is taking, which was 10 and 20. So actually we should pass the arguments again. So go to execute window, click on parameters. Can you see over here the previous parameters? It is still showing. So let us remove the previous parameters. Suppose we will take 20 and 30 are the two parameters, and then make it OK. And rerun the program again. Now we'll get the sum of two arguments is 50. So this is the way you can pass the arguments at the command line and do some operations on those arguments. So after this program, let us move on to another program where we can deal with files, that we can open a file and do some operations on those files also. Similarly, suppose in the next program, we will read a file at the command line argument, and then we will display the content of the file. So let us start the program. Read a file name at command line and display the content of the file. So you can take any text file or any type of file. You can take the same C file itself to see the content of the file on the screen. So hash include stdio.h int main and return 0. So I am using over here the command line argument concept. So let me write over here int rc comma char star argv. Now here I am going to read the content of a file. So I need a file pointer to store the address of the file which has been opened. So I'll write down file star fp. So fp is a file pointer. And if you want to read character by character from the file and display it on the screen, then take a character variable char ch. Okay. Now you check whether you are passing any command line argument or not. So for verification, you can always write if argc value is less than 2, that means you didn't pass any arguments. So write down just a message, need to pass arguments. Need to pass arguments. And otherwise return from here. Now if you have passed the arguments, then RC value will not be less than 2. So what you will do? First open the file. fp is equal to open the file. So the argument is rv of 1 because rv of 0 is the file itself. Okay. rv of 1 will be the file name which you want to pass at the command line. Okay. Now this file, which mode you will open? You will open it in read mode. You will open this file in read mode. You are going to open because this file already exists. Now, if due to any reason the file could not be opened, then we will write down we will do the error checking. If the file pointer, if fp is equal to null, that means if the file pointer contains a null address, that means file could not be opened. So write a message, your printf unable to open the file or file opening problem. Unable to open the file and return from here. Now if the file gets opened successfully, then read till the end of the file, character by character, and display it on the screen. So till the end of the file I am going to read it. So I'll write down a loop file while not equals to f uof of fp, not file end of the file. What do you have to do? You have to read it character by character. So ch is equal to, you can write fget c of fp. Read a character from this file and f put c ch comma std out. So read a character from the file whose address is there in the file pointer and put that character into the standard output device. So f put c, you have used ch comma std out. Std out is the address for your standard output device. Now once your file is continuously run till the end of the file and you are displaying the content, once the loop is over, we are going to close the file. So f close of fp we will do to close the file. So we are only doing 3 basic operations: opening the file, doing read write continuously, and then closing the file. Now if you want, you can write down a general message: your file contents displayed successfully. File contents are displayed, and here our program stops. So the application of command line argument is you can pass any type of arguments, and file name is also a type of argument which can be passed at the command line, and you can work with the files. So in this example, we have seen how to pass a file name and how to do the operations on that file. So let us first compile and run the program. So this is your third program, suppose, and C source file, save it. Now, unable to open the file is the output what you got. Why you got this output? Because till now we have not passed any file name. So what we will go, we'll go to your parameters window and we'll pass the file name first. So click on execute and go to parameters. You can see that the earlier parameters it is still storing or it is displaying. So let us remove this and suppose I'll pass cmd2.c. This is the C file earlier we have written. So I'm passing this file whose contents I want to display it on the screen. Now make it OK and again run the program. Now you can see the output on the screen. So the file which you have passed, the contents of that file is displayed character by character. So in the next program, what we will do, we will read a file name and we can do some operations. Okay. So what operation you can do? Now, let us discuss another program that we want to read a file name at the command line argument and we want to reverse the first n characters of that file. So, write down this program that reverse the first n characters in a file which is passed at the command line. The program is to reverse the first n characters in a file which is passed at the command line. So how to do this program? So start with the header file first, #include stdio.h. Then write down the structure of the main program by writing your parameters. So int argc and char star rv. Now return 0. Structure we have written. Now what we need to do over here? We need to handle a file. So to handle a file or to read the first n characters, we need to create a file pointer. So file star fp is the file pointer. How will you do this operation? You will do character by character. So take a character variable over here, and remaining the other values what you need, other variables what you need, we can declare later. Okay. So first of all, you have to check whether you have passed any argument or not. So as usual, you can write if argc value is less than 2, then insufficient arguments or need to pass argument message. So write down need to pass arguments. Now, if you have passed argument, then this message will not be displayed. So now you have to open the file. How will you open the file? fp is equal to fopen function. To the fopen function, we have to pass the file name. So the file name is stored in our RV of 1. RV of 1 contains the file name. In which mode you are opening the file? As the file already exists, I want to open the file in read mode. Now, if the file is opened successfully or not, I can check through its address. If fp contains a null address, that means file didn't open properly. Due to some reason, file could not be opened in memory. So I'll write down printf your file opening problem. File opening problem. If the file is opened successfully, then what operation you want to do? Now here we will take a variable called n, which is nothing but the number of characters you want to reverse. So let us declare one integer variable int n, which is nothing but the number of characters. So first read the value of n. So write printf, enter number of characters you want to reverse. This is a general message. How many characters you want to reverse? Read that value of n by writing %d and ampersand your n value. Now we have read how many characters you want to reverse. Now what we will do now, using fseek, we will write our logic inside a loop, and using fseek, first we will go to the end of that char. Suppose n is equal to 5. Okay. Now in your file, you have a number of characters. So the first n characters you want to reverse. So first read the value of n, and suppose n is equal to 5, go to the 5th character. Okay, go to the 5th character. From there, you have to display in the reverse order. So how will you move to the nth character? Using fseek function. So fseek function takes 3 arguments. First argument is nothing but the file pointer. The second argument is nothing but the to which character you want to move. I want to move to the nth character, and the first character is there at index number 0. So nth character will be there at n minus 1th position. So n minus 1, from where you want to move your file pointer, you want to move from the beginning. So for beginning, you have to write here 0 or seek underscore set. Seek underscore set you have to write. Okay. So using fseek, I have moved to nth character. Okay. Now read the character which is there at that nth character position. So I will do fgetc ch is equal to fgetc of fp. Now using fseek, you have moved your file pointer to the nth character. Okay. By using fseek, you have moved your file pointer to the nth character. Now read the character which is there at the your nth position. So ch is equal to fgetc of fp you have written. So the file pointer is there now at the nth character. Read that character and display it. Okay. And display that character. So I'll write down your %c, ch. The character which I'm reading, I'm just displaying it. Now reduce n is equal to n minus 1. Reduce n is equal to n minus 1. So again, the loop will begin. So where n value is still decremented by 1. So the last nth character, now you are reading n minus 1th character. Like that you will come back. Okay. Now how far you will do? Till the n value becomes your non-zero, you will do the process. When n becomes 0, then you will stop this process. Till n not equals to 0, I will repeat this process. Then I will close my file once my first n characters are printed in the reverse order. I will close my file. So just observe the logic of the program. First you have opened a file in read mode, and then we are reading the number of characters you want to reverse. Okay. Now then what we are doing, using EPSIC function, we are moving our file pointer to the nth character and printing one by one character in the reverse order. So this is happening through this loop. Now, if the same program itself, if I want to give as my argument, then how to work with it. So before that, let me save my program. So suppose this is the 5th program, and save it as C source file. Now let us go to execute window, go to parameters and give the file name. So suppose I am giving your cmd5.c. The same C file I am giving, and you can see that first few characters what is there you can see. So I have passed the argument now. Now let me run the program. When you run the program, it is asking you enter the number of characters you want to reverse. Okay. So I am giving suppose 8. Can you see over here? What are those characters which is present? So it is the word reverse is there with the slashes. So you can see the first n characters are simply reversed. Now let us run with another test case. Right, it is 100. So what are the first 100 characters? You can see over here. Now let us discuss another program that to read a file at the command line argument and display the content of the file first, and then we will apply the operation called rewind, and after rewind we will see that how the file pointer again moves to the beginning of the file and we can do the operation. So here in this program we are going to use 3 functions. One is called your EPSIC function, FTEL function and rewind function. So here I am going to make use of usage of EPSIC, then FTEL and rewind function I am going to apply over here. Now these 3 functions I am going to apply on your file which I am reading at the command line. So let us start with #include stdio.h and int main. Now the file which I am writing, on that file itself I can do the operation. So simply let me write the arguments int rc, char star rv vector. Now first of all, read a file. How to read a file? First declare a file pointer. So file star fp. Now fp is equal to, I am not checking the argument count, so I am going to pass any file name directly. So f open rv of 1 is the file name which you are passing, and I am opening this file in read mode. Okay. Now when you open the file in read mode, then where will be your file pointer? File pointer will be there always pointing to the 0th character or at the beginning of the file. So if you want to check that, then you can take the help of FTEL function. So before applying FTEL, let me check whether my file opened successfully or not. So if fp is equal to null, then we'll write down as usual message file opening problem. So p error or file error, f error also you can write. So write down a message, your file opening problem. So if there is any file opening problem, my control should return from here. So simple return I am writing. Okay. Now if the file opened successfully, let me check the current position of the file pointer. So how to check the current position of the file pointer? Using your ftl function. So write down your current file pointer position. Current file pointer position is nothing but, okay, current file pointer position is percentile D, ftl of fp. Now here I want to close my file and I want to show you the intermediate result so far. Okay. Now let us save this program. As a C source file, I am saving this program. Okay. Now here go to execute window and go to parameters and pass a file name. You can see here your one file name I have already passed. So let us keep the same file name and let us see the output. So what you are doing in this program, you are just opening a file and you are checking the current file pointer position. So your current file pointer position, it at the 0th position it is there. So normally it is a long integer, so you can write percentile LD also. Now using fseek function, I want to move the file pointer position. So let me write. So fseek of fp, in which file you want to move your cursor, that is fp, then followed by how many characters you want to move. Suppose I want to move to the 50th character, so plus 50 L because it is long integer, and from where it is from beginning. So seek underscore set is the macro name you can write. Otherwise you can simply write 0. That means by using this function fseek, your file pointer has now moved to the 50th character. Okay. Now whether it has moved to the 50th character or not, how will you know it? So what I will do here, I will again display the current file pointer position by calling the ftl function again. Now we will see the difference, that what was the earlier position and what is the new position. Now let us see the output. Now you can see earlier the current file pointer position was at 0th character. Now it is at 50th character. This is the difference. Okay. So that means through fseek you have moved your file pointer to a particular location, to a particular character. So if you want that from the 50th character onwards till the end of the file, you want to display the remaining content of the file, that is also possible. So you can write down a while loop, while not fuf of fp. That means your current file pointer is there at the 50th character. So from the 50th character till the end of the file, the content should come. So I want to do this process character by character. So let me declare one character variable here. So write char ch. Now inside the loop, read one character ch is equal to fgetc of fp. Read one character and then display it onto the screen. So fput c of your ch comma std out. So display it on the screen. So what this loop will do, it will display from the 50th character, your file pointer is there at the 50th character. From there till the end of the file, it will display the content. Now let us check whether it is working or not. Now let us check. So can you see over here? Now from the 50th character onwards, the remaining part of the file is displayed. Now let me rerun again. By writing a /n here. Okay. Now let me change this to, let us say 60 or 70. Okay. So 70L, let me make it and rerun it again. So can you see over here? So the remaining part of your file from 70th character onwards, the remaining part of the file is simply displayed on the screen. Okay. Now, similarly, what I want to apply now I want to apply a function called rewind function. So, I will do now rewind of FP. So, when you will do rewind operation, again the file pointer will go to the beginning of the file. Okay. Now, let me check the current file pointer position, whether it is at the 0th character or not, again by using the ftl function. So I have done rewind operation so that my file pointer has gone to the beginning. Now let me check whether it has gone to the beginning of the file or not. So here I will make this as 250. Okay. And let us rerun. Now can you see over here? Initially the current file pointer position was at 0th character. Then you have moved your file pointer to 250th character. Then from there, remaining part of the program is displayed. Again, when you have done rewind operation, the current file pointer position again goes to 0. So this way your rewind function works. Rewind function always takes the file pointer to the beginning of the file. So in this program, we have learned the application of command line arguments where you have passed a file, followed by you have seen the usage of fseek, ftl and rewind function. Thank you so much.
Like, share and subscribe. Hit the bell icon for more updates.